Welcome to Common Sense Rhode Island. This is a program where we try to make sense out of the policies that affect your life and come up with common sense solutions. I'm Representative Patricia Morgan, and I have with me today Jonathan Williams, who is coming to us from ALEC, which is the American Legislative Exchange Council. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show. Good to be here in Rhode Island.
Coming up from Washington, D.C. to share some good information with us. Let's talk about ALEC first.
Sure.
Because I don't think a lot of people have ever even heard about it, right? Yeah. In your words, what does the American Legislative Exchange Council do? What's its purpose?
Yeah, you're right, Representative. A lot of people don't know what ALEC is. We are an organization dedicated to really the common sense American principles of limited government, free markets, and federalism. And we work as a cooperation between state lawmakers such as yourself, and thank you for your service as Rhode Island State Chair for ALEC, and also members of the business community to come together with solutions for the economic problems facing the states today. And we take this idea that states are laboratories of democracy, right, and that we can learn best practices from what works in some states and hopefully replicate those and then avoid the mistakes of what doesn't work in other states.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I am involved in it is because, you know, we have a very hostile business climate here. Mm-hmm. It's hurting Rhode Islanders. We lost an awful lot of jobs in 2008 and 2009, and we haven't gained them all back yet. So a lot of Rhode Islanders, they've gotten jobs, but the jobs they got don't pay what the old ones did, and their kids are leaving because there's just no opportunity here. So I wanted to find out how to make Rhode Island stronger, how to get jobs in here and really improve our economy. And I've learned some really good things at some of the meetings. You know, we were just at a meeting and somebody said, explain to us what federalism means.
Yeah, I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
I really do. And unfortunately, the concept directly from our Constitution, from our 10th Amendment and our Bill of Rights has kind of been lost over the years. And many people, when they hear the term federalism, unfortunately think that it means a growth in the federal government control over things, when the founders meant that to be exactly the opposite in this American experiment that we have. And that is, the 10th Amendment says the power is not directly given to the federal government or reserved for the states and the people of the states, and that there ought to be this decentralized type of government, the government that governs closest to the people, we think does the best job. It's more responsive to their needs, it's more transparent, more accountable, cares about the individual lives of citizens more than a far-off, distant government in Washington, D.C., and that's, I think, why the founders designed it that way.
Yeah, I think so, and I think people here in Rhode Island, we still have financial town meetings.
It's a great concept.
And people don't want to give up those town meetings because it is a way for citizens to get in there and actually vote on the budget if they're interested. So it really keeps the control close. I think it's why we don't want to have 4-year terms, we have 2-year terms. It's because it allows the people to check in from time to time. The federal government's been growing a lot lately.
Well, it's been horrible, right? For anybody that believes in common sense ideas of fiscal responsibility and lower taxes, it's been a long time since the federal government has really got their act together. I mean, nearly $20 trillion in national debt today. We see bills passed every single year to tweak the tax code here or there, but there hasn't been fundamental tax change in Washington since 1986. Nearly 30 years ago in October, we'll celebrate that 30th anniversary of that. Not a good anniversary to celebrate.
No,
but meanwhile, the states and localities are taking much more action. I think that's pretty helpful, and it's healthy in the American democracy and that experiment to see those decisions made closest to the people.
Yeah, one of the things that is so good about the conferences that you have, it's a learning experience actually. It's just full of seminars and talking to other legislators, is to find out what other states are doing and some of the really good ideas that they're coming up with. I know Maine is one of our kind of close neighbors here, and they've done, I just talked with them about welfare reform. And, you know, a lot of folks say, oh, welfare reform hurts the poor. From their data, it did the opposite. The poor actually were able to get jobs and advance their lives. It's been really good for the poor.
Well, certainly.
It's improved It's improved their income, not the other way around.
And that's the way it should be, right? And Governor LePage in Maine deserves a lot of credit, as well as the legislators in Maine, for putting together that. And it's not an easy issue to talk about.
No.
Because on one hand, you want to make sure the truly needy are getting the help that they need, and that safety net to make sure, the single mother out there that's struggling gets the help that they need. But on the other hand, you want to make sure that it doesn't become a crutch to make sure that people have economic opportunity and they're not locked into just being dependent on welfare for the long term. In a lot of states, we find that people are better off, for instance, staying home, not working, collecting the welfare and not earning money up to a very high level in some places. In Pennsylvania, for instance, when we looked at it, it was about $70,000 a year was the cutoff point. So if you made anything less than $70,000 a year, you're still better off not working. And when we give people the incentive not to work, basically when we pay people not to work, when we tax people that work, should we really be surprised when less people work, right? And we've got this problem with people not going to work.
What you reward or what you pay for, you get more of.
It's economics 101.
There you go,
really
exactly. $70,000 in Pennsylvania. Oh, that's actually more than the average family makes in Rhode Island.
Right. It's disturbing that we're basically keeping those people out of the labor market, keeping them away from earned success and going out and getting a job because we're giving them all the incentive not to do so.
Well, and I think welfare reform is something that we have to look at, not to be hard-hearted.
Right.
But I think people get a sense of purpose and pride if they have a job. I don't think anybody on welfare doesn't want to work.
That's right.
If there's a good job for them there.
And they want their kids to grow up working and become successful. And there's the work by Arthur Brooks, for instance, talking about what makes people happy. And a lot of what makes people happy, as it turns out from the research, is this idea of earned success, that they're making something of themselves and they're going and growing and maybe starting a business or working and becoming successful and being able to provide for their kids and their grandkids and maybe leave something behind if they're lucky enough. And so I think there's a lot of research to back that up, not just from a dollars and cents perspective, but really from the morality of capitalism side to say, what is it that really makes people happy? It's earned success.
Yeah. Honestly, very good points you're making. And it is one of the things that we learn about when we go to your seminars and stuff. What have you done? Has it worked? Has it hurt people?
Right.
Has it not? Has it helped them? A lot of good things. I know at one conference I learned about Vivitrol, which is a drug addiction preventer. Right? What is that? What do they call it? A rescue kind of program. It's brand new, but a lot of states are using it, and that's when I was talking to other legislators in other states, that's how I found out about it. It breaks the addiction cycle for about better than 50% of the people who do it. They're using it in prisons to help people get out and lead better lives, not have to go back to prison because they go right back to drugs.
That's right.
Really good things that are percolating there.
Well, absolutely. Our meetings are a great place of exchange, and you can take whatever you'd like back from them. Whatever was going to work in Rhode Island, not everything that you hear would be applicable here, right?
No.
But you take whatever works best, whether it's criminal justice reform or privacy issues or tax reform, pensions. I know you've dealt a lot with that here in Rhode Island over the years, but that's a great example of how you're able to bring something back, learn from what other states are doing, bring a real innovative private sector solution back, and really help the people of Rhode Island.
Sure. Let them make the mistakes and give us a better policy.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back.